Well, my phone got kind of full of video. I had to go home and edit it way down, and had some customers show up, so I didn't finish these stems yesterday. But I did get this guy soaked off a little bit. And you can see the raw fillet here. It's got a little bit of flux on it still, so that white stuff is. But I started filing it just a little bit. I went and checked it on the alignment table, and it is just sitting very slightly crooked, like almost unnoticeably. So I'm going to have to bias my miter over to this side. That's what I always have to do. Something about my body English. Always creeping in this way a little bit. So I'm going to have to miter it over just a littlest bit until we get it perfectly straight and double check the angle and blah, blah, blah. We cut a little long for that. I'm not using fancy tools, machinist tools. I can't cut everything perfectly square. That's all right. I think I'm still way too long. I wanted to make this like an 80, but I'm paranoid, so I cut it really long. And I think it's going to end up being, if it was perfect right now, it would probably be about a 95. Cruiser bars is what you should be running. So once I get it all biased, if I screw it up a couple of times and file, it'll probably be about a 90. We're not being super precise on this. The customer didn't order it. They didn't have super precise, guidelines. It doesn't have to be exactly 8 centimeters or 9 centimeters or 85 or, whatever someone would want. So we're just having fun. We're just kind of playing. Clamping stuff in the vise and filing from this side is easy. Doing it from the other side is a lot trickier. So the trickiest spot is right on the very top and bottom. It's just kind of a blob there and it's hard to file around this big old bar clamp. But the shoulders are not too bad, coming up on the sides. So the trick is to keep the file moving and try and do the longest pass possible. Really flatten it out. And then, once it's pretty much flat in the shape we want, then we can sort of wet it out towards the edges. Kind of smooth the edges of the fillet down. And it's so careful. Just try and do that. It's so easy to come all the way up and drag your file unbeknowingly against like the other two when you're trying to file the fillet. It's called digging in, when you file into the steel and make like a low spot next to your fillet. So you gotta really watch out for that. We don't want to get into the steel. Luckily the brass file is pretty smooth. When it hits the steel, it gets sticky feeling. You can like tell it's there. It's like dragging into metal, and it doesn't like it. Same thing if you do this with which I should be doing. I'm having good luck with a rotary tool, a little sanding drum. You'll start shooting sparks when it hits the steel and it doesn't on the brass. I'm digging in a little bit to the stem clamp itself. That doesn't matter the most. And I'm really wetted, a really smooth transition into the quill part, but not as much on the stem clamp. So it's going to need to get a little extra special attention. I don't know if I said it before, but I am not a fillet brazier. I do all my frames with lugs and stuff. Well, I've done a couple fillet braze frames and stems, some little things, so I'm not as good as some of these guys who've just done hundreds of frames of fillet brazing. Some of those guys have DM'd me to tell me they had to do a lug bike and it was insanely hard. That's how I did it. Fillet brazing's popular because it's a lot easier. You don't gotta be restrained by lugs and angles and lug fit, and you can just miter the tubes and braze. Then you can set it at any angles or shapes you want. No problemos. I've got yesterday's footage edited down to an hour, which is insanely long for my phone. But once I edit it down and re-upload it, it cuts the amount of gigabytes a lot. So I'm going to do a little bit today, but not too much. I'm going to finish filing this, adjust this miter a little bit, and then we'll go check it on the table. I got it pretty much sanded out. I might be able to see some spots in the light. Might work on a little bit more. I brought it over and had it sitting straight up and down vertical with a couple of parallel machine blocks next to it. So I can really come in here. I really want to make sure this thing is straight. So I got this total square up the back. And I'm lining it right up with this tube so I can see the daylight gap between it. And I can move my eye until the daylight gap's almost gone, like a millimeter thick. And I can see that that gap stays exactly the same all the way up and all the way down. Can you even pretend to see that? Oh yeah, you can see it. You see that daylight gap, that black gap? It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. This thing is straight. If this thing were even off like a little bit, it would make your handlebars start sticking out the front. This thing was off like a millimeter down here, your handlebars would stick out like a centimeter up here. And that would get real noticeable. So this thing has to be pretty straight. Pretty straight. Then, here's the quill. We need to get sit on this quill. Straight. So this miter has to be perfect, otherwise the bars will be meep or meep while you're riding. It'll be like riding like this instead of like flat. So we got to get that perfect. How does one even do something like that? Let's try some stuff. Come up with this guy, and yeah, it's showing me, I can see when I touch it, the gap down here is like touching, and up here is like 2 millimeters. So this thing is, so it needs to come back this way. So it needs to come back this way, which is the opposite of how I marked it yesterday. So that's ungood. So this is perfectly flat against the alignment table. This we're trying to push in, hold from the back to make it perfectly flat against the alignment table. So this is flat. And this needs to be flat. Looks like it's up at the top. Let's try the other side. These miters, this miter's just like too loose. It's like slightly too big. It's pretty good on the top. It's pretty bad on the bottom. So I might have to come in here and tack it on the top. It's one tack, and then we can hold it in place and put alignment tools on it. Because then if it's, worst case, it's gonna be off like just like a degree. If it's tacked right here, then we can just go and just bend it tiniest little bit. Miter at the bottom's kind of loose. It probably ought to let us do it totally fine while still getting plenty of contact. The whole top's perfect. If I could get it a little closer, I would. I mean, it's so close it's hard to tell. That's the problem. I bet you 99% of every factory stem ever welded is less close than this. Same thing. Touching down here is the gaps. This whole clamp, everything's lined up, everything's pushed together, everything's flat. This whole clamp needs to come this way, just the tiniest, the teeniest little bit. So we need to rotate this way, to rotate in. So we got a file over here. I definitely marked it wrong yesterday. It's always good to stop when it's late and you're tired. This is also longer than we want it to be, so if I do this and screw it up and do it again and do it again and do it again, worst case I might get down to like a 90, maybe an 85 if I really if I wanted to flip it all the way over and redo this miter from scratch, I could still make this thing an 85 or 80, which Curtis thinks he wants. I don't know. I'm just gonna be happy when it's straight and square. Just barely touch it. I didn't perfectly machine these flat surfaces because I'm not measuring off them. But I got them really, really close if we put them in the jaw. The jaw is the vise. If it had like a high spot, it would like move and just pivot on the high spot like a hinge. So they're real, real close. I'll do a little final file into my eye and blah, blah, blah. I don't like the miter. It's too big. I'm gonna go with a smaller file. I'm gonna want to bias it. Even when I push this file in, I can see, let's make it very slightly over this way, turn by this way just a little bit. I don't want these high ridges. I want them to fit and be nice tight miters, but I don't want them to be so high they make a little high spot for it to rock on. Let's measure it again. I had to file this fillet first because it's easier without the rest of the stem attached, but also because the fillet and the flux, the stem is so short, it's like starting to hit my little blocks and give me false readings. Give me little high spots where I definitely didn't have high spots. Okay. Tight, pushed, the only way it can be. And that is worse. Guess I was right yesterday. Let's double and triple check, make sure there's no dust or burrs in here. So maybe I took it a little too far, or maybe I just flipped it upside in my head. Mitered the wrong side. hold this in here. And if I hold this file in here, deep in the miter, and eyeball it, it looks so straight. Probably splitting hairs. Yeah, it's so tight at the top, it's got room to wiggles. Trying to get all the wiggles out of it. It looks like even. My eyes line up and see this tube down both sides. It looks so straight. I do see a lot of these fancy frame builders who have all the machinist tools put their miters together before TIG welding them. Mine are better than theirs often. Like, so I'm like, is it so close? It's so close. It's so close. I'm probably just being paranoid at this point. If I wiggle it very slightly, it's perfect. So I'm just gonna tack the top, then we'll come back and do a real alignment. There's just no way to get it. If it just turns the slightest bit, the bar's gonna be so crooked. We should really quickly double check this angle too. I still want it to be 73 degrees. This should still sit totally flat. Does it sit totally flat? No. It might have the slightest little bit of rise. Maybe very slightly. Should I drop it some? God, should I? I don't want to. It looks pretty close. Curtis's old relaxed mountain bike should make it look a little up no matter what. What I am gonna do is drill the vent hole. Look at it all the way around. Make sure I like the look. You can rock that little 1/2 degree, but no more. So one tap, one bend, one braze. The long, hard way. And by that I mean the right way. All right. And clamped up. 1, 2, 3 blocks against these machine blocks. This has to be straight up. Cannot be crooked. Found this big tube that fits in pretty nice. We're gonna come over here and check. All right, it's got like maybe a millimeter there. Slide it down over here. Maybe on the This little table is so little. The knob's hitting. Let's slide it down more. Maybe this thing always spun around. Flat, flat, flat. Yeah, this is still saying, this one's saying it's way too high. Ooh. So this is barely touching. This side's too high. This side needs to come down. Can I do it on here, not in the vise? So right here and right here, it's going to measure totally straight on each side of the clamp. When you get out, that's when it really matters. Like, the longer and longer you measure farther and farther away, the 1/10 of a hair over here could end up being inches and inches 10 feet out. So you can hear when I bend it, the little creak up here. That's the flux drive here on the brass. The flux cracking, so I'm putting enough tension on it. So I know it's moving a little bit. Maybe I can get this thing like tighter, bro. There's a little teeny bit in there, but not much. That's just barely touching. Come over here. That's like a centimeter. That's like wild to me, man. It's like wild. I think I'm gonna have to clamp this in the vise to bend it. So this side with the arrows needs to go up. Before I was like, is that down? I'm sure it's down. This side's gotta go up. Up. This totally can move. See, I just wiggled it. And look at this. Now this is down like 5-6 mils. I need a machinist vise, and this is down 5-6. And that was just saying this is straight. I need a machinist vise to put on this thing to lock these things in flat. All right, perfect. Perfect and perfect. Oh, they're just sitting on something or something was touching. Flat, flat, flat. Ah, Yeah, and now this is up like 5 or 6 mils. I have got to figure out something, and this is up 5 or 6 mils. How, bro? How? I know I've done this before. I don't remember it being hard at all. The bars are totally straight. I need you to not move. I need you to not rock. I need you to not move. It needs to be flat and straight. Get this thing all the way up so I know it's not touching the table and causing something to move. Bro, heated. Heated. It's holding it like 4 mils high. Come on, you turd. Just. You see it scratching on and off the top. There's just no way to get any straighter. Same thing. Oh, now this side's moving ever so slightly. It's so close. I just thought it was a centimeter off. I don't think it is. I think it's fine. This guy's just getting brazed. It's getting brazed, bro. It's getting brazed. Out of time. I should have left like 20 minutes ago. We're gonna braze this. It's either gonna be all right or it's not. Learn from my lesson and make a new one later if it's not. Still all that flux on here. I was trying to be careful not to touch it, so it should be clean. Cleanish. I really could just add some more right now. Wouldn't regret it. There's plenty on there. So I'm going to come into this. This is the tightest joint on the bike. So it's the one most likely to move. I might shrink up and tighten it in. So I'm going to do it first. I don't want to do the outsides first because it might pull it. We're just trying to get the bar straight. I don't want to pull one side and make it crooked. And come braze the other side, making sure it's crooked. Tack this one first, then we'll tack the sides, then we'll fillet it. I'll go home and just cross my fingers, everything turned out. Look at it with fresh eyes when I'm not late and tired. Why am I doing it at this angle? I have this in here kind of loose so I can... It's real loosey-goosey just so I can get it to go where I want it. There we go, into the joint, into the joint. Alright, that one's done. Now we can come do the sides. I'm just getting it to tin now, so I'm just getting to make sure the brass is flowing in between two miters all the way around. Now, in theory, at least fill this side. This is a bad angle. I'm gonna regret it. Yeah, I'm already getting a blob. Yeah, I need to be holding it like here so we can twist this whole stem around. Thought this was clever, it's not so clever. Yeah, I'm really hot. Let's work on this side. That's like a little cooler. Too hot, bro, too hot. Calm down. It's too hot. It's too hot. I'm too stressed. Got it tacked. I got a little bit of the fillet started, but it really probably needs something else. Can I do it like this so that the whole thing's sliding down? Maybe. I didn't plan out brazing the stem too well. It's hard to braze up and down. I was going a little hot at first. I was all mad. Puddles were moving. So I was moving around the wood block, and I flipped over the wood block, and I finally just dropped the wood block and just set it right here on the vise. So I could get around, but it is still pretty warm. I got all the way around. It actually looks pretty good. Kind of a high spot right there I got to touch, and I built a really big high spot on the top. It's like trying to pull it down a little bit. I think it'll be fine. Just be 2 extra minutes of filing on the top. And now we gotta let it cool, let it soak. We'll check in that alignment table again. Once it's fully brazed, there's not much I can do to align it. I might be able to maybe get it to move like half a degree or something. But I mean, it's fully brazed. It's gonna be hard times. Then once, I guess, I mean, I might not even come in tomorrow. It's gonna be too hot. Monday, Tuesday's gonna be like 100 degrees. I usually take them off anyways, so I might put off doing my Sunday salvage sale video for all week because my phone is full with this stuff. I wanted to get farther today. And it looks good. It looks good. The fillet I filed looks good. This fillet will look good. Still gotta file that a little bit flatter, put the top cap in. We're getting close, and then when that's all done, big ugly bolts, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Split this thing down the middle to make it a removable faceplate 31/8 stem. Oh, I didn't even mention, there's a bike yard sale today and Curtis bugged me about it. We went down there and he came here after the thing. Another guy came too to buy some stuff. And Curtis is in here wandering around by himself and I was so afraid he's gonna see this, have any questions about it. But he didn't. He didn't notice anything, didn't ask any questions. I think he was preoccupied with something else. So hi Curtis, thanks for not noticing your present that I'm trying to make you. I told him I was busy with top secret stuff. And he's all intrigued. I'm like, I can't tell you. You can't see. Doing top secret stuff. Because it's for you. That was video. My video's too big. I don't even know. Do I just say, that's my video so far, video part 2. Thanks for watching. Then Curtis will see it. Thanks for watching. Alright, day 3. Moment of truth. I just got back from Burritos and Sunday salvage sale. Gotta put that video off while I do this one. It's exactly how I left it. It's sitting here to cool. I got it brazed. Big fat fillets. A little too high on the front. One little low spot right there I'm not happy about. We'll see what happens as I file it. Sand it out. It might be a little high spot on both sides. It might not be bad. I love everything about it. This moment of truth. I gotta try and get this, hold this flush in those little blocks on the table. I measure one more time and hope it's not tweaked. And if it is, we'll give it one real hard bend and see if we can make it perfect. So what I found is that everything else just kept moving on me, so I'm just gonna hold it in these blocks. These blocks are square, they're machined, they're flat-ish. Should be just about perfect. Let's double check this. See, even just holding this down tight, this has a little bit of move. That is right where it was yesterday. That is right where it was yesterday. I'm gonna say this is within a millimeter or a degree. I'm happy it did not move while I brazed it. I am so excited about that. I do have to soak this off. But before we do that, we might as well clean this up and braze in the cap. The final filing here, we gotta get these bolts on. So this guy can come out. I love this tube. I had to edit the video so long, so I edited out some stuff where I was trying to use some vise and some other straight edges weren't straight enough, and tried to use some 31/8 bars. These bars are so bent, not a chance. So I was really happy I magically found this piece of stem tubing that's for something else, and it's magically on the outside. It's like 31/8. So happy. I need to order another piece of this in case I use some more of this. All right. Still flux on this, but not much. I'm gonna sand the top and the inside. I think that'd be the funnest, easiest thing to braze in the top cap. Oh, we're still trying to decide if we're gonna use an alloy one. I kind of like it. It gives it some more like height. I actually kind of like this a lot. Use one of these alloy ones or braze in a steel one. The problem with these is, yeah, they're so loosey-goosey. It moves all over the place. I want to get it held just right and braze it in. If I want to get it hot enough for brass, it might melt this a little bit, but I kind of doubt it. I can kind of be careful. Always just silver it on. I don't know why, but I've never used the alloy top caps, but I always saved a few. I think they're kind of fun. Another one. This one's in really good condition too. Velo Orange makes those cool brass ones now. That'd be really cool for this stem. Talk Curtis into ordering one of those dudes. I don't know, I've always brazed them on. So I just chalked up this black stem cap. I just put an M6 bolt through it and a spacer and a nut and locked in this axle vise. I took the wire wheel. I wire wheeled most of the black paint off. I'm taking some sandpaper. So I got it locked up in here all tight. Get the rest of the black paint off, get it all sanded and nice for brazing. I want no black paint, and I also want the metal to look very sanded and shiny and clean. I really want none to be underneath this lip because that lip's going to sit on the stem. So that's where it needs the brass to actually stick. Also a little bit of brass. On the other stem that I'm making for myself, I did a copper coil and put it in there. I had to heat the crap out of it so much. I was like, oh, I should have just silvered around the top. It just needs something to hold it in place. Gravity's going to hold it in place. It really doesn't need anything. It just wants to do it. So now let's clean the top of this stem. Just cleaning off the old char and flex. We want bright, shiny. I'm gonna re-clean the inside. I already cleaned it, like pre-cleaned it a while ago, but let's hit it some more, shall we? And technically a little bit might get around the sides so we can get out here too. I don't really want to. I don't want anything to stick to it. I also don't want it to not flow because it's like too close to some dirt. Also, I really want to file this before I braze this on so I don't hit it. I can just be careful. I've already erased like over an hour from this video and I'm feeling guilty about it. I would have done it in 2 parts if it wasn't a surprise and a secret. You probably won't care about it anyways. But Jenga sits pretty flush. Yeah, it's flush all the way around. I don't want it to move. Alright, so I got it on here, heated up. I'm just going around getting warm and adding some brass and trying to fill this little gap between the top of the stem and the body. Of course, I'm being impatient and coming in too hot. It'll be a little bit of filing work. I just didn't want to see that little line, and I don't know why, but I didn't. So now this brass is going to be a millimeter or two too hot. It'll take a few seconds to file. Whatevs for ebs. Be up there filing anyways. Filing for the rest of my life. File, file, file. Now I have to figure out how to attach the stem bolts. I got to figure out which stem bolts I'm going to use. What do I have 4 of that I like? What's the easiest thing? What's the hardest thing? I've got 2 of this style. It's a seat post binder, so it's nice and big, half round miter, little pocket on one side for the bolt to sit inside, threads on the other. So you braze it on, you cut it in half, and you can thread the bolt in. A little bit of daylight, so I have to hit up the file a couple times. These are real big, real chunk, real big and chunk. Whoosh. And I need 4 matching ones. Or we're going to do something else. And of course I don't have 4 matching. These big boys too. Really file the crap out of them down. And we have to drill the threads halfway out. So you want it to just have the bolt on one side. And then it had the exposed head, which is what most stuff is now. Wouldn't that be funny if I got this far and didn't have any clamp bolts? I do have 4 of these big bads. So it's going to be then. I think these things are $3 a piece too. Ooh. Probably $100 in materials on this. You know how it goes. So I'm going to sand these guys all out, get all the goo off, do a little bit of mitering, see that in the file a couple times to make. Oh, this one fits almost perfect. Oh, I can see a little daylight, yeah. Want to see no daylight. I gotta figure out a way to jig these bad boys on. And they're so big, I might have to file them or scoop them on the top too. I mean, they're kind of cool, but they're so chonky. They're not light either. Here's another one. Really big rack bolts. They're already mitered perfect. It's a lot less chonky. All right, I did find these ones I mitered for some other stem a while ago and didn't use. But they're the big fat rack bolts. And I found 3 of them. I'd already put a pretty big miter in. Might need to touch it up. Well, I just lost one. I gotta find another one. It's on the floor right here. I can't see it. But I took them all and I drilled half of them out. This is a 1/4 inch bit, so there's lots of room for them to get in and get started. They're 5mm threads. If the threads ever get torn out, I left them at 5. 5's good. If the threads ever get torn out, I can retap them to 6 and save the stem. So half drill out, so the drill that I have to go on the front, the threads go on the back. So these can just go through the faceplate and grab these back threads. Once they're brazed on, we'll cut them in half. As soon as I find the one I just dropped and disappeared into nowhere. All right, got all 4 of these guys. Got the 3 mitered ones. I can't find the 4th one. I might have brazed it onto something. 1 without a miter. 2 of the miters are perfect. I can't see daylight. They fit nice. 1 you can see a little bit of daylight, so it needs a little bit of work. This one needs a little bit of work. But we can do that while this is cooling. So I went ahead and just buffed out the top of this, drew a Sharpie line down the middle, sanded these little guys, and get them right on the top. I saw someone make a real clever... Shit, Curtis is here. Shit! Okay, back to recording. All right, I got these little 4 dudes. One side drilled out, sanded, fluxed, sitting on there with like a file on a magnet and like a heavy punch. Hopefully they won't move. I think they're about right on top. I'm like centered on that Sharpie line, more or less. Pretty center, pretty cool. Curtis showed up. And I told him not to come bug me when I'm making this video because it's so cool. It's a secret. But he looked, he saw it, but he doesn't know. He's over there putting an old Bell Orange headset in a frame he got a salvage today. He built a single speed out of. Oh, let's get all that. I got this aluminum 31/8 bar. I want to put it in as a heat sink. Aluminum melts lower than steel, but I don't think it'll melt that low. I think it'll be fine. It really does need a heat sink though. Just gonna slide it in. Hopefully it doesn't warp so bad it doesn't come out or cause any other problems or melt. It'll also make it hard to heat the bar from the underside for the clamp area, which could be an issue. But it's thin. I mean, this steel's pretty thin. I think it's 0.35 wall, so 9/10 of a millimeter. So it should heat up pretty quick. Burn all the water out of the flux. Trying to get the clamp area warm. Try not to get the braze on warm. Burnt. My little jiggy is really in the way. And I've already started to melt that aluminum sleeve. Every part of this is a nightmare. That's just in the way. There's nothing to do but keep going. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Turn the torch up, and that's everything I wanted. Got hot, move stuff. I definitely melted that aluminum sleeve quite a bit. Hopefully that'll come out after we get hot and get hammered out, melted out. Frame builders have been telling me that you can just melt stuck seat posts out, torsion aluminum, because it'll melt way lower than the steel. Melt a lot easier than I thought it would. Might be giving that a try next time. Probably got to run the reamer so we have to get it out. We're just going to do that anyways. So I got way too much brass in because it was being cold at first. So I'll do a little filing. Everything's got big fillets I'm going to file. We'll let this cool down. We'll flip it over to the other side. Then we'll split this bad boy. Then it's just filing and cleanup. And it'll be done. Sick. So as you saw, Curtis showed up and he brought some, he came to get his frame from salvage sale and he wanted to play with it and Kept trying to figure out how to line the fork without just having me line the fork. Tried to buy my wheels off me again. Went back and forth whether I should put any money into it or not. I was like, don't look, and he looked. He has no. And then, yeah, I was like, all right, just play with that and do other stuff, and I'll just keep brazing away and filing away and cleaning up, and I got this thing pretty filed and smooth and sandpapered out and cleaned up. It's pretty all right. Around the bolts here. The inside's still gross. I just like gave it the hot pot again, but it's still a little gross. I'm gonna run maybe a little bit of, see if we can knock these high spots off, and then I'm gonna run the 31.8 reamer through, get rid of any heat distortions, and then we're gonna hacksaw this faceplate down. So to all intents and purposes, the stem is almost done. Curtis did tell me when I was looking at it, he's like, didn't even know, he's like, oh, it's a big boy. Didn't really think about it. Yeah, because that's what you always say you want for a big motor bar. And he goes, yeah, I don't really like stems with like the skinny tube. I know that's too skinny, but I like them. Like, if you do bigger, you gotta do like oval. It's ugly. It's like, oh, I like them when they're oval. He's into mountain bike stuff, you know, from back in the day. I'm like, oh, cool. I told him he doesn't like them all finished and sanded out. He said if he made a stem, he'd leave it just like raw file marks and all the blue heat scorching, not doing any sandpapering. I was like, cool. I still filed it out. I still filed it out, but I'm gonna leave all the scorching on. I told him if you like the scorching, you just like linseed oil it or something, you know, like not have to paint it or get rid of any of that stuff. So I was hoping I'd be done by 3. Customers and Curtis and random home bums coming up. Didn't happen. It is 6 p.m. now. For a long time, I just turned the fan off and the music off for you guys to film this video. So it's about to get real hot in here. We'll try and get any flux that's left. Even though I've soaked it a couple of times in hot water today. Flux that is off. This is the old 31.8 reamer. And it's true, the bars go in nice, but this is going in a little, probably heat distorted from those guys. Oh. I don't have a good way of doing this. I have this seat tube reamer, and they make all the sizes for insane money, like $70 with like $60 shipping. A German company, and they were here in the US for a minute, and then they weren't. The door closed and that fan off, you can feel it, my dudes. Let's use way too much cutting fluid because I don't want my tools to ever go dull. Too much cutting fluid, I love it. Let's see if we can make this not make a mess. I can usually do it pretty well. Sometimes the very beginning is a little bit awkward. Come on, bub. Catch, go straight. And this is already kind of loose on 30-way. I haven't checked it since I brazed the bolt biter bolts on, so it's... Did we talk about that? I got those guys brazed on. Made little blobs in the front. They were being a little bit of butts. It was going too cold. Turned the heat up, that was fine. And then did the other set, and they're like too hot. I turned the heat down. I was like, come on, man. So this isn't perfectly precise, but should be more or less pretty good. Give this thing lots of purchase. No tight spots. I took off some metal. You can see a bunch of chips coming off the end. Bring it back. Keep turning righty-tighty. You never want to turn the other way. It will dull your sharp tool. Pulling it back out while still going righty-tighty. Hoo-hoo-hoo. Now I want this rag. Interesting. So did not take any off the bottom and the top where I brazed these things on. They're like kind of high spots. But I did take the front and the back, so that's nice and shiny silver now. I didn't even get all the leftover burntness from the flux off. Alright. You just never know what stuff's gonna do until you do it. I hit a little bit of sandpaper too. That's too big. This is almost too big. Where's that next biggest file? No. Ugh. Yes, this is it. This is mostly to take off whatever char is left over and any flux or anything that'll oil out. Give it a uniform finish. Not really taking the metal down at all. Here's this crap Tapulous Kona 31/8 bar that's definitely not straight. It's about like it ever did. So it goes in, a little loosey-goosey. So some guys, when I was asking all the guys in the frame builder list about doing this, they gave me this tubing size, because it's 31/8 on the inside, more or less. But a lot of guys said that that's not quite precise enough, and you can sort of stretch the steel a little bit. Steel likes to stretch, you over tighten it anyways. So a lot of guys go one wall thickness thicker. So it's even thicker on the inside, so you can't get a 31/8 bar in at all. And then they ream it. But I don't have fancy machine tools, so I wasn't gonna worry about that too much just yet. We'll try a few stems and see how ugly they get when they're over tightened and they stretch out and stuff. So now all I gotta do is draw a line. I just, clamp these in the vise and got those all mitered and set a tool on it and braze it up. I think I recorded that. But it has like a pinhole. But I tried to get them perfectly in line with each other. These ones are a little bit forward. This is totally forward. I moved them all back with the thing, and in my heating process, they both came back to where they wanted to be. Low. So they're not perfectly, like this one's straight up and down. These ones are like a degree. It's not going to matter in the function of the stem. It just bugs me making it. Got the clamp. These things have a little valley, so I'm going to cut right down the whole middle of that valley all the way through. I'll do the same thing on the other side. So probably one side at a time. It doesn't actually really matter. And I usually have to take, things are going to stretch and tighten down, so you can't just do a one hacksaw blade width thickness. You usually have to make two cuts right next to each other. Hope they're perfectly straight, only a couple mils apart. And sometimes one will get crooked or weird, so I'll spend a little time filing. So just right down the middle of these two brazons. So not really right down the middle, because I have to make the two cuts. So I'm just over like a mil or two. And we'll go over in the other direction just a little bit too far. And any luck, I should have like a paper thin little slice of steel. Be real careful. I don't want this to skip all over and just chew up all this smooth brazons. I don't want to put fire and sand on them. Well, I'm halfway through the brazon. Woohoo! I gotta turn that fan back on, so I'll check when it's done. Whew, alright. I got the top side done, flipped it over. I'm most way through the bottom side. And this is what I was talking about. This tiny little sliver, the hacksaw straight down on both sides. My favorite part about this, you can see underneath, you can see the brass got full penetration under both of these brazons. No little gaps, no burnt char. Every time I see one of these things broken off, it's because it's like all the burnt char, it's a little bit of brass from the outside. So it never got heated right, never went under. So might as well do this one. So I got this one mostly cut on both sides. I start one, go about like 3/4 way down, then come over and start the next one, go about 3/4 way down. So I just, with the fan off, have to finish. And I just realized that I want to be doing the other side first. So the outsides to the faceplate, it's a lot less stiff. So I'm gonna get it cut all the way through, and we'll just do the last couple of millimeters of the side that goes towards the quill. And I went ahead and put that kind of melted 31/8 heat sink that doesn't work back in, just so if I'm cutting too hard, it won't slip down and nick the inside. Boom! You see the whole thing move? And that's why I did this side first. So the other side's already cut, and I just put a couple of bolts in just to hold it in place to get it some rigidity when I cut this side. So that faceplate is free. We just gotta get the rest of this little sliver out. Boom, and there it is. Nope, there it not is. I don't know what I was doing, but it wasn't whatever I thought I was doing. Through? Nope.
We're still here.
Yeah.
We're banging.
I just want to get this stem done so I can finish this video today because I'll be off for the next 4 days by it's 90s, you know. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta get it done. I just have like 90% of a video on my phone for 4 days. I'm hogging up all my memories. But I'm probably 10 or 15 minutes away from being done. I've said for the 3rd hour in a row.
Yeah.
Woohoo! It just jumped right off. It's red hot, so I'm not grabbing it from that sawing. But let's look at this guy too. Yep, full brass, all the way underneath, all the way through. Full penetrations. Kind of focuses. Now the last step, well, next 2 last steps, I guess. I'm gonna take a little M5 tap to just hacksaw through this. Those threads are probably a little bit ugh. Come in here and clean those threads. And hopefully there's no threads in here. I can drill down far enough. They're all threads in here, so either just got it or maybe a little tiny bit left in one of these. But so far, the 3 I've done, nailed it. Nailed it. No threads removed from this side at all, none left on this side. Perfection! I use a little bit of electrical tape on the drill bit so I can get them all the same depth. And hope it was the right, oh, this one's too? There's nothing on there. Heaven, oh, I'm sweating hard now. It's so hot. Now I want to call this done. It's not. I'm going to file and clean up these hacksaw marks a little bit, and then is it done? Yeah. Yeah. While I was waiting with the fan on, I filed this perfectly flush, so it fits this little aluminum wedge perfectly. Perfect cylinder all the way. Will move no problem. Got those fillets all filed and done. Oh, that is like hot. But I kind of want to do something fancy and special, even though Curtis is probably not going to like this and probably doesn't care and probably won't use it, probably think it's ugly. I don't know if I want to do a little head badge on the front, says Curtis on it or something. Or I was kind of thinking, this sounds insane, this sounds like 4 or 5 extra hours of work. In my logos, I have a little arrow that the guy made. I have some brass. I kind of want to draw an arrow with Sharpie and drill a whole bunch of holes and hacksaw and file it. And custom carve a little arrow and hand stamp my little logo into to go right down the bottom of the quill facing forward. Will I do that? Maybe? I don't know. But I definitely don't want to spend another 4 or 5 hours here. It is a zillion degrees. It is like almost 7 p.m. I'm usually home by like 3:30 on Sundays or whatever. So I'm not gonna do that today. But I won't probably see Curtis again until next Sunday, even though we might watch this video before that. So I'm just gonna clean these guys up just a little teeny bit, little file and sandpaper, make all these edges nice and smooth. And then I'll daydream about whether I want to do that or not. Maybe Curtis will see this video and weigh in. Be like, no, that stem's ugly. Or maybe he'll be like, oh yeah, I was just joking. That stem's totally cool. He'll like force himself to use it on his crust or something and curse it every time he sees it. Ew, why is it so ugly? Let's get these flat, no burrs. Cleaned up and pretty. It's got these hard, sharp edges there. I'll round those a little bit. But honestly, thanks for sticking with me. 3 hot, long, sweaty days. So that is this video. Stem's basically done. Should I hold it up for another shot? I'll put some more pictures on my Instagram right before I give it to him, or when I give it to him. We'll make him pose with it. Be a cute little model. Yeah, it's too hot. I'm not going to spend another 20 or 30 minutes here just doing the last little bit of cleanup. Sweat. But yeah, I gotta clean out the inside of these bores. My hacksaw blade. So cute. I just can't stop working on it. But check out, little face plate. Face plate. Face plate stem. Now since these were slightly different, I think there's definitely an up and a down. So it's gonna have to go on matchy style. So maybe I should do a little head badgy thing so it always goes on up ways. I don't remember which one it is, and actually it might not even matter at all. It really might not. They're totally in line and partying. Either way, probably it doesn't matter. Anyways, that's this insanely long and desperate and crazy video. Beautiful! Oh, I got the hole to line up. That one to line up. There's a big hole on the inside of here too. Should I take this home and weigh it? I would like to know the weight. It's really light, even for a steel stem, even being tall and big faceplate. But that's for the next video. Thanks for watching.